وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُم مَّوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. He said from his ayat is that he has created from you, for you, wives, so that you may find peace and tranquility in them. And he has placed between you love and mercy. Indeed, in that there are ayat for a people who reflect. Indeed, the provision that Allah has provided the man with, the blessing of the wife, the blessing of his partner, the twin of man, that is a great and mighty blessing. But like any other blessing, it has tied to it a degree of responsibility. It has tied to it a degree of accountability. And thus we find that the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam, on that great day, Yawm Arafah, in the farewell pilgrimage, when he addressed thousands upon thousands upon thousands of his believing men and women, followers, he addressed them with points and he delivered to them advice that they needed to know, because this was most likely the last occasion where he's going to face such a great magnitude of believing men and believing women, because shortly after that the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam passed away. So from among the points that the Messenger of Allah made and the pieces of advice that the Messenger of Allah delivered was when he said, ittaqullaha fin nisa, fear Allah concerning the women, فَإِنَّهُنَّ عَوَانٌ عِنْدَكُمْ, because those women, they are captives with you. They are like captives in your hand. أَخَذْتُمُوهُنَّ بِأَمَانَةِ اللَّهِ, you took those wives, you took those women as an amanah from Allah, as a trust from Allah. وَاسْتَحْلَلْتُمْ فُرُوجَهُنَّ بِكَلِمَةِ اللَّهِ, and you made their private parts become permissible for you by the word of Allah, i.e. by way of marriage. The narration being recorded by Imam Muslim. Therefore, the state that you find yourself in and that you will find yourself in the afterlife, the station that you may find yourself in the afterlife, perhaps it is based upon, and it will be as a consequence, as you dealt with your wife in this life, as you treated and managed that responsibility in this life. Allah's Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, in what has been recorded by Imam al-Bukhari from Abi Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anh, he said, وَاسْتَوْصُوا بِالنِّسَاءِ خَيْرًا, he said, I advise you, I counsel you to adopt a good conduct with the women. Adopt a good attitude towards the women. Why? فَإِنَّهُنَّ خُلِقْنَا مِنْ ضِلَعٍ, why? Because those women, they have been created from the rib. And the rib, its nature, it is similar to the woman. As far as the eyes of you, ya ayyuha zawj, as far as your eyes as a husband are concerned, you're going to find that the rib, it is crooked, it is bent. And in a similar fashion, the woman, in your eyes, you're going to find certain things in her to be crooked, to be bent, to be curved. You're going to find things in her which you find irritable. You may find things in her which don't please you. But that rib, if you were to grab it from one end and grab the other end of the rib with your other hand, and then you try to straighten that rib that is bent, what is going to happen? That rib, based upon the pressure that you're applying upon it, is going to crack, it's going to break, and soon it's going to snap. Thusly is the nature of the woman. You're going to find things in her which you don't find pleasing. Things in her which irritate you. Things in her that vexate you. Things in her which you don't understand. Her personality matters in her that you're not going to find pleasable. But now if you start to pick at the niggles in that wife of yours, that amana, that trust that has been placed in your hand, if you start to pick at those niggles, if you start to criticize her, why did you do this? Why did you speak like this? Why did you do this? Why did you... If you continuously, persistently start to criticize her and pick at the niggles in her nature, then what's going to happen? Similar to the rib, she's going to crack. She's going to break. And sooner or later she's going to snap. And your marriage, it's going to snap your marriage is going to break. Your marriage may end up in divorce. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said in His book, وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Live with them bil-ma'roof. Live with them in a goodly manner. Shaykh Al-Allama Abdul Rahman Al-Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala, he said in his tafsir of this ayah, وَهَذَا يَشْمَلُ الْمُعَاشَرَةَ الْقَوْلِيَّةَ وَالْفِعْلِيَّةَ فَعَلَى الزَّوْجِ أن يعاشر زوجته بالمعروف من الصحبة الجميلة وكف الأذى وبذل الإحسان وحسن المعاملة. A sheikh, he said that this ma'roof, this goodly conduct that you are obligated to observe towards your wife, it includes goodly conduct in your statements, it includes goodly conduct in your actions. Therefore, he said, it is a must, it is obligatory, it is binding upon the husband that he lives with his wife bil ma'roof. He lives with his wife in a goodly manner by giving her a beautiful form of companionship, by removing and blocking harm from reaching her, by putting in a great amount of effort in being good and kind and generous towards her, by living with her in a good, excellent manner. Allah, He said, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. A person may say, okay, my Lord has commanded me to live with my wife bil-ma'roof, in a goodly manner. To what extent? Allah, He said, and they, the wives, just as it is obligatory upon them to observe ma'roof towards their husbands, to observe a goodly conduct towards their husbands, and a great responsibility is on their heads as well. As Allah's Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, وَلَوْ صَلُحَ لِبَشَرٍ أَنْ يَسْجُدْ لِبَشَرٍ لَأَمَرْتُ الْمَرْأَةِ أَنْ تَسْجُدْ لِزَوْجِهَا لِعِظَمِ حَقِّهِ عَلَيْهَا. If I was to have ordered any human to prostrate to any human, then I would have ordered the woman to prostrate to her husband due to the great right that he has upon her. But just as it is obligatory, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, just as it is obligatory upon the woman to observe ma'roof towards her husband, then in a similar fashion, it's also obligatory upon the husband to observe an equal degree of ma'roof, an equal degree of goodly conduct towards his wife. You want your wife to respect you? You also have to, it's obligatory upon you to respect your wife. You don't want your wife to humiliate you outside in public? Likewise, it is obligatory upon you not to humiliate your wife outside in public. You want your wife to have a beautiful appearance for you. Did you know, Ya Abdullah, that likewise upon you is a similar degree of obligation of beautifying yourself to your wife? You're going to find things in your wife, it's unquestionable, that you find detestable, that you do not like. So what do you do in that type of situation? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, فَإِن كَرِهْتُمُوهُنَّ فَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَيَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. If you dislike them, if you dislike your wives, then perhaps you may find something in them. Then perhaps what you hate in them, Allah will place a great and abundance of good. Perhaps you may dislike something concerning them, but in that thing that you dislike, Allah may place an abundance of good.